everyone. We're here
Hello.
for digital cleanup.
Woo.
And we're going to be talking about how to kind of wrap up your school year if you haven't wrapped it up. But also maybe you are on summer break and you kind of felt, I was kind of done. Like with the whole COVID hybrid virtual, this year's been tough. And I think some of the teachers were just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And so now you're like, okay, now I need to clean up.
Yeah, agreed. I was kind of like, I don't want to talk about school for at least a week. I want to look at anything, but I have a lot to do.
Yeah, and I think it is important to clean up because you want to start off next year ready to go, ready to find things, not feeling so overwhelmed by the digital mess.
Right.
So I think this is a good, hopefully, timing. And if not, if you're still feeling that COVID overwhelmed, this is recorded, so you can rewatch at any moment.
Yes, just later.
All right, so we're going to just hop in because I think you all know both of myself, but if you don't, I'm Stephanie Howe and we have Megan Fernie. We work pretty closely together and we just love each other. A lot of people call us edu besties, I think.
Oh, I had not heard that, but that fits us 100%.
I know, right? Because we are like best friends.
We are.
We're always like collaborating and thinking about life.
Yep. Yes, we do all the time. And Stephanie's so great to work with because I come up with an idea and then she's like, all right, let's run with it. Okay.
Yeah, don't tell me ideas if you don't want to do it.
That's true.
So our first thing we're going to talk about is Google Calendar. So we've kind of taken all the Google Workspace apps and we're going to help your life become easier. So some of this might not be digital cleanup. It might just make your life a ton easier. And so you're able to just quickly do things so they're automatic next school year. And so how much do you use Google Calendar, Megan? Do you use it a lot or?
No, I use it to check because we put all of our students on our team, their birthdays in. So at least I can wish them a happy birthday. And we did use it to schedule parent-teacher conferences last year for our team. And that was pretty good.
Yeah, and I use Google Calendar every single day because if I don't, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
And it's color coded. So right here is Google Calendar. Now this one's not overwhelmed because it's Gold's calendar. But over here you can see there are different calendars that you can have. And so sometimes it's nice to have more than just one. So for example, if I want to see my personal calendar, I can click it on and I can click it off. And it's just nice because I can go, okay, Megan said that she's free tomorrow and we could do a session. Oh, wait, I have swim class at 6:15 with AJ. So I'm not available then. And then I can go, okay, I don't need to see this calendar anymore because maybe somebody with Gold doesn't need me. And I can see, okay, what is available on the calendar to schedule a session. And it just becomes really nice for you to use with your classroom, with your personal life, and it can all kind of merge together. And then you can also change these colors. So maybe I want it to be like a purple, or maybe I want it to be a orange, and it will change all of those events for you. Another trick with calendar is Google Keep. So over here is Google Keep, and you can create like a to-do list, and you can add different things that you might need to do on your Google Keep. I don't use this as often as I probably should. So sometimes if I have something to do, I'll just create a calendar event, and I might just say workout, like I need to do that today. And then it's just like on my calendar. And so I know from 12:30 to 1:30, I have to work out, and that's what that time is for. And so maybe as you're scheduling your lessons next year, you might want to think about using Google Calendar to help you manage your time. And so maybe your planning time is at the end of the day at 2:10. And so you could like write what you're going to do during that time every single day. So it could just kind of help manage your time, know where you're supposed to be. You can also set up appointment slots, and that's what we did for our parent-teacher conferences. And then you could have students sign up to meet with you. And so that might be another great way if you want to do some data chats with students or one-on-ones with them, you could also do that.
We did that on our Wednesdays when we were hybrid. I had appointment slots, and for the most part, kids followed it pretty well. I put on there, please tell me what you want to meet about. They never did. But at least they were signing up, so it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's like, do you want them to sign up or?
Exactly. So at least they were joining.
Yeah. But it's just really nice that you're able to go here and you could do a task. You could make it an all-day event.
Mm-hmm.
You can change it to whatever you need. And then it's on that task calendar as well if you wanted to use that. Another thing we talked about was multiple calendars. And then one of my favorite things is linking because I have so many different meetings that, and this is kind of what Megan was talking about, like the kids, when they sign up for an appointment slot, they can put in the description what they want to talk about. Or, hey, I had this missing assignment. Can you check it? Now, you kind of have to train students to do that. And with hybrid learning, we were just like, just sign up, like, because we didn't have a whole lot of in-person time to train them on that. But you can just see here, I can put the YouTube like the YouTube link, and then I can also add the slides presentation right to the Google Calendar invitation. And so then once it's in, I can just click that instead of searching my Google Drive. And this was like really helpful for a ton of meetings because and I'm going to share this out in the YouTube chat before I forget. Actually, I have to get on another account to do that. But right here, like when I click here, I can say like, hey, Megan, that document's in your Google Calendar. Like you don't have to search everywhere for it. And another thing that's really nice is if you go to Google Drive, it will say attached to this meeting. And that document is right there in my Google Drive. I don't have to go to Google Calendar. It pops up right in my Google Drive because it knows this document you're going to need. So it's right here available for you. And that's why I use that. And so some teachers were putting like their agendas for their TBT meetings, which makes it nice too, because then you can go, oh, I need to talk about this on Wednesday. You just click that invite and then you can add to it. So just another kind of way to keep your ideas with you. And then also if you're lesson planning, you could just say, hey, today I'm teaching this, and here is everything that I need for that class.
That's a really good idea. I had not thought of that. But you're right. When you've shared meeting or started meetings with me, you've shared through Google Calendar in the Google Calendar invite, the documents that we need or the slides or whatever. So, but I didn't think about doing my lesson plans that way. That's a great tip, Stephanie.
Yeah, I think too, like you can duplicate events. So if you needed to say, okay, this lesson didn't finish, let's do it tomorrow, you could have it over. And when you're meeting with your admin for your evaluation, here's all my evidence. If you want to check anything, just go to my Google Calendar. You can click the day and everything's linked there. I don't know, like you could maybe make this every like annually. So like next year, what did I do? I just don't know how that would work yet. But it could be an interesting idea.
I should put that in my Google Keep for my notes to things to remember.
Yeah, Google Keep right here.
Yep.
And so that's just a few tips to calendar that might make your life a little bit easier. Megan, you want to take over Drive?
Oh, Drive. Yes. My Google Drive, first off, I'm really an organized person and I like to have things labeled. I like to have folders. I like to have everything nice and neat, color coordinated. I mean, that's my world. And even if you'd look at my clothes closet, I have things separated by like seasons and colors. I know I'm a little odd, but I love to keep things nice and neat until this year. My Drive was a disaster. I have stuff everywhere. I mean, I have things in folders, but I would just throw things in and then end up having to message Stephanie and say, hey, do you remember this template? Do you have a copy? Because I couldn't find anything. So my number one thing is start with some sort of folder system in your Google Drive. And that's what I've done. I've already started my history for 21-22 school year. I've got inside my folder for that. I've got subfolders for the different units that I teach. That's color coordinated. I have gone through and started cleaning things up instead of having like edu protocols folders and tech folders. I've kind of taken my edu protocols, and in that folder, I've put in the different types of edu protocols that I've done so that I can find them easily. It helps to keep things definitely organized 100%. And I just have so much stuff everywhere that it's hard to find.
Yeah, and so just a real quick create a folder. You're just going to right click. So 2 fingers, 1 click on a Mac, and then you just do new folder, and then you can name it whatever you want. I like to add emojis. I don't know if you do, Megan.
I've done emojis, but I also number the ones that I need at the very top. So like this coming school year, it's already started with a 0 dash and then social studies, whatever. And then I've added like the little American flag since I teach 8th grade history and we cover US history.
And so you can kind of see right here, using different emojis. Yeah, numbering them really helps to keep them in line, because emojis too, like if you have them, it's going to go first. But if you have multiple emojis, I don't know the order. I think it might be by the letter of them. Yeah. I don't know how that works. But you can also go to new and create a folder that way.
That's how I always go.
And what is also nice is you can change the color.
Yep.
And so you just right click on the folder or go up here to the little snowman, change the color, and then you can change it to whatever color you want.
And that helps to stand out. So I know if I'm looking for something that I don't use all the time, that's me at the bottom. But the things that I use most often, those are colored right at the top so that I can see them and they catch my eye easily. Oh, and then your list. No, what are you? Grid view?
I am grid view, but this is the list view.
List view is how my life works.
No. And then you can just drag things to wherever you need them. I often will open up on the sidebar and drag that way, because then I have subfolders and I can see all the subfolders within the folder.
Oh, that's a new trick. Yeah. See, Stephanie, you're just a wealth of knowledge.
I know. I mean, it does save time though, like, because then I'm like, okay, drag it to that folder, go into that folder, move it again. And so over here in the sidebar, you can just drop it. And then like, I use a lot of shared drives too. So like with school, like this is overwhelming. And so it's nice to have all of those over instead of going to the folder, then going in and putting it where it goes.
Right.
But I also use the search bar a lot.
Yeah. I must just not be typing in the right words when I'm searching for things. Yeah.
And that brings us to our next one, which is naming conventions.
Oh, yes.
Because naming your documents is huge. And I mean, I make this mistake all the time because I'm like today, we did a stick it together activity and I kept typing in like think, pair, share. No, this was called stick it together. Even like it is that strategy, but like it took me forever to find it because I was like, what did I name it? Right. And like you have it in your head. So I think just figuring out like what did I name it or what makes sense to name this. Also like things that I've created. I've been adding my Twitter handle.
Oh, that's smart.
That just so I can find like, okay, I did make that. Like, oh, these are all the things I created, even though you can go to like owned by me and that stuff. But sometimes I make a copy of it. Right. So it thinks I'm the owner, like the creator, and I'm not.
Right.
So this allows me to see, okay, I've made all these different things. And that just kind of helps. And then I also like will put Megan's Twitter handle so then I can search her and go, oh yeah, like I was looking for that on a scale. And then I can search for her that way too. So that kind of helps me with the naming conventions.
And if you haven't seen our How Are You Feeling on a Taco, you need to go back and watch our previous little videos about ratings on a scale. How are you feeling versus on a taco?
Yeah, and I'll throw that in the chat because it's a fun one. It was, now I'm going to want tacos.
I know.
Not even Tuesday.
Wait, no, today's Monday. Yeah. I got confused. I thought, did I miss it? But that was a fun one. Yeah, so you can see Stephanie and I've made a lot of things.
Yeah. But again, it's just fun to use that search bar, but also know how you name things so you're able to quickly find things in your drive, because that can save you just time alone with what you're looking for.
Gotcha.
Also,
Yep.
I wish I had this up. Let's see here. Let's put, let's see if this works. Book 1 in my drive. So now Google's moving to shortcuts because it doesn't take as much space as a like folder. It's kind of like a short link of somebody else owns folder. So my school account owns this folder and I share it with Gold. You can now or soon, so it's soon because I don't have it yet, you will soon be able to change those colors.
Oh.
Don't know when yet. Like I said, I don't have it.
Gotcha.
But you will be able to soon. And that's kind of why I was like hating these shortcuts, because I was like, oh, Megan shared a really good folder with me and I want to change it the color, whatever.
Right.
And I couldn't because it was a shortcut. But eventually you should be able to change the color, which I never understood why that was such an issue.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Good stuff.
All right. Google Classroom. This is probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
So some of the things I like to do is, first off, never delete your classroom folder. And I'm
Correct.
going to delete that, which is it's not deleted. It's just hidden because I never really need it because I don't teach a class. Do you use the classroom folder at all?
I don't use that folder.
See, I don't either. And if you do, let us know how you are using it, because I'm really curious to know. Hopefully I didn't delete it. I don't think I did. Maybe
I have a classroom folder. It's a lovely greenish color.
Yeah, I color coded it too. And I had a teacher, she'll kill me if I say this live and tell her name, but she deleted the classroom folder. But we were able to get it back.
That's good.
Because it was under the 30 days.
Okay. So I can see.
There it is.
Yeah, there's.
See, I hide it. I put it in another folder and it's yellow. Yep. And I put if needed because I'm like, I never really need it. But here is my classroom folder. And every time you create a new class, it creates a folder. What I like to do is I like to create a, so this school year was 2020 to 2021. And I like to throw these classes into those folders. So that way it just kind of keeps it organized in case I ever did need that information.
Yep. I've got mine. I've got a bunch up right now looking at my drive, but I do have one that's just called archived. And in there is a lot of, oh, nope, that's old. Oh, I haven't archived any yet this year. That's why.
Yeah. And sometimes teachers will do archived instead of the date. It just works for whatever you kind of need, but don't delete them. Yeah. I had a teacher that did delete it and I was waiting to hear back, not the classroom folder, the classes. And I haven't heard back what what happens.
Mine's labeled previous classrooms.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So Stephanie, do you know what happens if was added to another teacher's classroom? Can I delete, and if I don't need that folder, can I delete that folder? It won't be deleted for theirs, correct?
I don't think it would, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
But in here, you can get to your classroom folder quickly by going to this drive symbol under classwork. Also with that folder, again, you might want to organize it, change the colors. It might just help you. And it stores all of your student work. And I've seen some teachers, let me get into another account. Let's see here. I don't want to show student data, so let's try this account. But I've seen teachers use the classroom folder to kind of spy in on what students are working on. Because it's a little, if you use grid view, it's a little bigger than what you can see in classroom or not see. We use Hapara, so we don't really have too many teachers that probably use that.
Yeah.
There. classroom folder. I think this has Louise's stuff. So here is every single assignment that I've assigned within that class folder. And then here, oh, let's see if there's one. Here we go. So I can kind of see if Luis real quickly did anything. So I can see here, like, he hasn't even started this, and he was supposed to do that last week. So then I can open it up if I need to and have that conversation with him. But I see a lot of teachers going through Google Classroom rather than this way, but you can.
Gotcha.
And then returning student work. Have you done this yet, Megan?
So I started it and I did it. I was just testing it out. And then my students started returning it back into me. And I'm like, no. So I stopped because for a lot of our students, I guess I just thought once they saw there was a grade, or if it was an activity that wasn't graded, I didn't need it back if I sent it to them. For next year, that's on my list. Tell students if they get it returned and it's graded with no comments, no nothing, we are good to go.
Yeah, and the reason you want to return the work is because it allows them to be the owners of their work again. So Megan no longer needs their work. And I think I was listening to a podcast today, and they were saying, like, once you return the work, it's still in that classroom folder.
Gotcha.
You're still able to access it if for some reason you needed it to, which is kind of good to know. But then it is like on back to them.
Gotcha.
Also, returning work, there was a couple teachers that have asked, like, can we click a button that says, like, you can't return, like, you can't turn it again.
Yep.
So I'm hoping Google comes out with that, but I don't know.
That would just be helpful. Just one last step, because it's send it back. No. And then tell them, I don't need this back. And then they would send it back. I'm like, no, stop. Because then I get emails and I don't like having a bazillion emails. This is all part of my probably OCD.
And then another good tip is to archive your classes that you no longer need.
Yep.
And if you ever do need them, you can get them back. So I'm going to go ahead and archive this class. And so now I just have this one class left. And again, if you need it back, you can go to archive classes and I can copy it. So maybe you want to make a copy of all of your assignments. I don't like that because I want students to see the assignment as it pops up, which it does kind of make everything as a draft, but it like overwhelms me. Yeah. So I like to reuse posts. However, that's totally a personality where you can kind of customize it to fit your needs. But again, I never really delete. I just archive. I don't know if I will start deleting with the storage issue, like with Google charging for storage. I don't know yet how that's going to look. And I don't know how much space like a Google Classroom takes up. But then I can also restore it if I needed to.
And one more side note while you're on that classroom, Stephanie and I and what's her name? Allison? No. Ashley, in a couple weeks, we are doing a little make and take on how to change your Google Classroom headers to add GIFs and Bitmojis and stuff. So stay tuned for that, everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun make and take. So you get to make the design and then you can take other people's.
Yep.
So maybe maybe you have like 7 different classes that you teach. So Megan just has to create one, and then she's like, oh, I'm just going to take this one and this one, and then all of her classrooms look different, and she only had to create one. Yep. So even though like they're addicting to make.
Can't wait.
Let's go back. Let's see here. So another idea is like automating student data with Google Forms and Sheets. And this, again, will save you time during the school year. So anytime you can use a Google Form or Google Sheets, I highly suggest it. And so here's like a template, and I'm going to share this in the chat if you want to use it. It's also in the speaker notes. But right here, you can just put all your students' names, and then you can go to the standard and put their score for that assessment. I also set up conditional formatting. So that way it changes colors. So you can see here all the hundreds are blue, 89s and 78s are green. We have a red over here that's a 60, and then it gets the class average. So this could be just a quick way for you to kind of keep record of how your students are doing on these different assessments. And again, like this is probably more for standards-based grading because it has all the standards up at the top, and then you're able to go in and give those students a score for that standard, or maybe you do put your lessons and then you can see how are your students doing compared to other students. And again, that conditional formatting just saves you time. It takes a little bit to set up, and to do that, you just click the row. So you just highlight the row, and I clicked way too many rows. There we go. And then I like to right click. Again, there's so many different ways to get it in Google. And then conditional formatting. And then you pick which range. So I'm doing 3B, which is right here. And then I'm going all the way down to 20. And I want it to say is not empty, or I can change it to any of these. So maybe I want to do, if it's exactly whatever, I can add that score in, and I can change the color to whatever color I want. And so you can see here, let's see here. It should show them. It's not wanting to. Conditional formatting. And so then you can set up all these different rules, and it will calculate how your students are doing by colors, which is really helpful for those quick looks at, okay, how's my students doing? We have a program called EduElastic, which does this for us. So really getting into the data and using colors can really help you go, okay, my students are, this student I might need to meet with. Do you use any kind of tracking or anything like that, Megan?
No, because I could not find one that I really liked, but I just made a copy of your spreadsheet, and that's in my random drive. It's not in a folder yet, but it is there because I know I need to do a better job of kind of looking at some data, and this is an easy way to do that. So I like this idea a lot.
Yeah, and it's nice too, because then you can see too who's missing assignments, and is there a trend that's kind of happening. So I can see like maybe right here, okay, this student normally gets like a 78, 100 range. So I mean, not 60 is bad, but maybe they got a 0.
Yeah.
What's going on? Do I need a conference with the student? What do we need to talk about to kind of see what is happening? Or hey, the class average was 60, so I need to reteach it completely, you know?
Right.
It's just a nice way to quickly look at data. And then again, Google Classroom creates calendars. So if you go to the classwork page, it creates a Google Calendar, and you can add your students' birthdays to this calendar. I have a link to how to have your students add their birthdays to the calendar. So you don't have to do all that work. You can have them just do it real quick. You go into settings, and all you have to do is find the email address that they need to send it to, which is right here. It's like a weird email, and it's like a group email. And then the kids just create an event, and they add this as a guest, and then it gets added to your calendar.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and you could have them add their sport events. You could have them add anything that might be coming up in their lives. That could be a really fun idea to build some culture for your classroom. But one thing that I hate is by the end of the year, if you have like 7 classrooms, you've got 7 different calendars.
Oh.
And so like if you probably look at your calendars, Megan, you probably have a ton.
Yeah, I've hidden most of them.
Yeah, and so that's what you want to do at the end of every year. 3 dots, hide from list, or you can go to settings and you can delete the calendar.
Oh, okay.
So right down here, you can delete it, and then you can permanently delete.
We had a team classroom since we're on teams at our school, and that's where one of the teachers on our team put all the birth dates was just through that team classroom. So that could be a way the kids could put their sporting events and stuff. And so I don't have a whole bunch to look through.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would pick like, this is nice because it will have due dates for the kids and that kind of stuff. But again, you'll want to hide that from your list because it becomes overwhelming if you're in a lot of classes and every single year you create 7 new classes, 7 new calendars. So just kind of keep that in mind. Also in here, you can go in to the settings and add notifications. And I like to turn on this email notification, and maybe I want my kids to get this email notification one day before. So I can have them kind of get notifications about what's happening. I could have them set up their daily agenda so they know what's due, when it's due, all that kind of stuff. And I use these email notifications because if I don't, I forget.
Right.
So I think sometimes our kids might need some of those reminders too. And if you hide something, you can get it back. So like I just hid that calendar. If I need to, I can go and find that calendar again. But usually once they're like, usually you just want them gone.
Yes.
And again, to get that, you can go into settings and then here, this little thing means it's hidden and I can just turn it back on.
Gotcha.
By that little eyeball. So it should be back up. Yep, right there. And then I can hide it again. All right, Gmail.
Yes, good old Gmail. I currently have, because I like the whole idea of project or inbox 0, I have 3 emails.
Wow. I only had 1, and it was because of us going live and I get a notification because I subscribed.
Well, and I know I could move them and put them in like in my little subfolders off to the side, but I've got things like how to use our new print deploy thing and our master team schedule for next year. So there's stuff I just think I might need. I don't know.
Yeah.
3 is not bad. 3 is not bad.
No, it's not. And I like to star emails. So they go into this folder and then I can delete them from my email. And also snooze them. So like, okay, I'm not ready to deal with this print deploy right now. I'm going to snooze it for Monday. You can do that, which is really nice. And I use these 2 features a lot. Another feature that I really like. So right here, I've got YouTube notifications that come in whenever I go live or I'm subscribed to a channel and I have the email notifications turned on. And what I want to do is go to these 3 dots and I want to filter messages like this. I like the filter, but I have a hard time setting it up unless like I have an example. I like to have the template kind of there because it's a lot easier to set up. So right here, I want to filter it. It has the email address. I could, if I knew the subject or anything like that, like the word subscribe, I will tag it to a folder that goes to newsletters, because normally when it says subscribe, it's like a newsletter. And then I can go in and I can create a filter. And I can decide, do I want it to skip my inbox and just archive it? Do I want to mark it as read? Should I star it? So maybe like you have a principal and you're like, every message, I need to make sure it's starred so I don't miss like a meeting or an important information. I have a lot of people that have a folder with my name on it because I send a lot of stuff. So you might.
As Stephanie.
Yeah. See, I'm a folder.
Yep, you are.
And so you might create a folder, like a email filter that has anything from me goes straight to that folder. And again, it just saves you time.
Yeah.
So right here, I want to apply it to a label. I'm going to create a new label and I'm going to call it YouTube. And then I'm going to create. I could also forward it. So anytime this comes in, I could forward it straight to Megan or Abbott if I wanted to drive him crazy.
Oh, that would be great.
He'll just put me in spam.
Right.
And then again, like I can say never go to spam. I can do all of these different things. I could send a template. So like a lot of teachers, when we were hybrid, they had a lot of emails coming through. And so they just automatically sent a response to kids that had at students.plsd. And it said something like, I am teaching students currently. Here are some things you can do. If you have questions, reply back as urgent or something like that. And so just kind of help them manage their inbox. And it allowed students to have like a reference of, okay, these are some steps I can do while my teacher is not checking email. Which was just kind of nice for those teachers that needed that boundary. I can mark it as important and all that kind of stuff. And then I also want to filter matching conversations that go along with this, and then I can create my filter. And so now if I go to that YouTube folder, there it is. That's
pretty cool. And I haven't done anything with filtering.
And then I can just archive it and it's still there. Which just saves a click.
Yeah.
And again, I like it too because on my phone, it will say, let me see if I can pull up an example. It will say like what folder it's in. And so like, let's see here. So like you can kind of see here, I've got newsletter, Pickerington. And so then as I'm like on my phone looking at email, I can go, oh, that's a newsletter. Like I feel overwhelmed. I don't want to read it right now. Don't want to read that. Okay, this teacher emailed me because it says Pickerington. It must be really important. And so I can kind of filter my emails that way as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then canned responses and templates. So if you go to settings, you have to turn this on. So you have to go into, I think it's advanced, and then right here, templates and enable. And I have students do this too, especially 5th and 6th graders. So right here in the 3 dots, once you enable that, you have templates. And I can go, okay, I don't want to retype this email every single time. Here's my template. All I have to do is add the link, send it. Or I could schedule to send it if I didn't want to send it right now and I wanted to send it on Mondays or whenever. So I can do all of that information and it's all ready to go. And what we do as students, let me see if I can find the template. A lot of our teachers, again, with hybrid learning, they were getting emails from students that were like, help, what do you need help with? And so a lot of teachers started to use these templates. Let's see here. That's not really a good example. Let's see here. But do you ever get those emails, Megan?
From kids that just say vaguely?
Yeah.
Or the best is when they put their message all in the subject line. Like, oh, you're 8th grader. But they do not check email. They don't understand like that people are responding to them. The end of the year, one of the things I tried to have them do after they checked their grades was, hey, let's delete emails so that you start your freshman year on a clean slate.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how many emails our kids have from Google Classroom.
Yeah.
And I think it's true, like you do need to do some digital cleanup with kids. And so one thing that I suggest is like creating a folder, 8th grade, everything goes in that folder.
And I told them that at the end of the year because I didn't think about it, but that's also on my list for the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So here's just like a how to email your teacher. It's in the chat, but you can just see, here's a checklist. And again, they make this a template. And then kids just change the red.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it just helps because in the subject, it has their name, what class they're in. Because if you're an 8th grade teacher at the beginning of the year, you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so many kids. And I don't know what class you're in. I don't know what this is about. Do I even have you as a student?
Right.
Because there's just so much going on in August.
Yep. Yep.
And so example, like my name, my subject, my period, it's about late work.
Yep.
And then kids can just put, this is about whatever, and I've done this already. So if it's late work, maybe I filled out the Google form 3 weeks ago and you haven't checked it. And I love this template because it puts the ownership back on the student. And then you can even have them CC their parent. If you wanted to keep them in the loop or whatever you need to do. I've also seen this template filled out for classroom behavior.
Ooh.
So students who are not working during class, the teacher has an email ready to go in a Google Doc like this. And then the kids just copy and paste it. And it says like, dear mom and dad, I have not been working today. I am 5 lessons behind. This is what I plan to do to catch up. And then they CC the teacher, they add their parents, and they send it. They're responsible to send that email. And sometimes you get added to the responses from the parents, like, well, you're missing this, you're not playing video game, and so sometimes you get to see that. But again, it's putting that ownership on the student.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I like that.
And then we talked about scheduling emails, but again, just hitting right here, the down arrow, schedule send. And then you're able to send it whenever you want. And I love that it gives you automatic times.
Yeah.
I wish this would be like you were able to customize. Mm-hmm. I'm like, maybe I don't want it to send at 8. I want it to send at this time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have to it's just more clicks, which I'm lazy. And then our last share for tonight is this strategy. I recently found out about it, which I desperately need. But right here, you put your different tasks that you have. So let me go ahead and make a copy of this. But you put the different tasks that you have to do. Mm-hmm. And then you decide, is it urgent? Do I have to do it today? Is it not urgent? Can I delegate it to somebody? Or can I stop doing it? Like, why am I even doing this task? Like, it's not helping anybody. Like, I just do it because it's tradition, which I think is so important because it's kind of like, okay, who can I give some of those tasks to?
Yeah, that's
delegation is hard. But maybe your students can do some of that. Okay, maybe you can schedule to do it. So that's using Google Calendar. Maybe it's something that you do have to do now. And so then you can kind of decide what is important and what needs done when it needs done. And this just might help you organize your life for next school year.
That's a good tip. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, maybe some of the things you're doing, you don't need to be doing because it's no longer effective. And I think sometimes as teachers, we have so much on our plate. And I know there's a lot of different things coming at us, but it's like sometimes I think we need to ask ourselves, like, why do I do what I do? Like, why have I been doing that? Is it helping my classroom? Is it helping instruction? Or can I stop doing it because it's a waste of my time? It's a waste of even if it's 5 minutes, that time adds up. And so I think it's just really important to kind of look at this and go, okay, or even some of those eliminating things, like maybe you are grading papers and you're taking them home. How can I do this when my students are in front of me?
Yeah.
So like I know for Megan, like she did a number mania and she was like, I'm going to have to take all these home and grade it. And I was like, just have your kids present it and grade it right then and there. And it totally saved you hours.
Yeah. And it went so quick. I mean, they were all nervous to present, but I'm like, talk for 30 seconds. I can read quickly, pick your top 3 things that you liked, that you found. And it went really quickly. And I'm like, oh, this just saved me hours. Yeah. Didn't even think about it.
But I think this chart could just help, like, okay, I'm grading so much.
Yes.
How can I eliminate that, but also like provide immediate feedback, which is a higher strategy.
Right.
And my kids get more out of it. So just kind of thinking that way, like how can I maybe delegate some of those tasks to a computer so that it grades faster.
Yep.
So maybe you just need to do some self-reflection this summer and just think about, okay, here are all of the different tasks that I have as a teacher. These are all the different things on my plates. What does need done? What can wait? And what can maybe a parent do that could come in and volunteer their time, or maybe do it remotely, or maybe I ask someone on my team, hey, you do this, I do that, and you collaborate, because I think we really do need to start working smarter.
Yep.
And stop working these 70, 80-hour work weeks.
Agreed.
And again, that link is just up here if you do want this template. But again, you don't have to do this digitally. I think you just need Post-it notes.
Mm-hmm.
You could just stick them wherever, or you could use Jamboard or whatever tool you like best. Any other tips you can think of?
I guess just the last, enjoy your summer, teachers.
Mm-hmm.
We all, teachers, staff, admin, everybody, we all worked so hard this year. So I really hope that you are all able to have some downtime to just kind of chill, relax, enjoy summer before we're back at it in August.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was fun, and I feel a little more organized, or ready to go organized.
Yes.
And yeah, we will be having that Google Classroom header make and take. So feel free to join us. That's going to be monthly. Yep. I'm really excited about that. And that will hopefully save you some time too, because you're going to vote at the end of the session on what strategy you want to see next.
Oh, yeah.
So we just kind of started out with Google Classroom headers because you're like, okay, what's kind of fun, summary, activity that's relaxed. And then after that, maybe you want to get into choice boards. And again, we would create one choice board. Megan creates one. Ashley creates one. You create one. There's 4 different choice boards right there.
Yep.
You can kind of take and steal to customize it for your classroom. Or maybe you're like, this is perfect. This is what I teach. This is what I need. So just some really fun ideas that will be coming soon.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Get cleaned up for next school year.